Welcome to the Football Show on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. I'm Peter Martin, Alan Roth, Neil Lennon and Tam McManus are with me on today's show, and here's what's coming up. Brendan Rodgers insisted his Celtic players gave him everything he wanted in the draw with Atletico Madrid.
Our reaction in the game was superb, and everything that I'd wanted in terms of playing together, pressing.
Graeme Souness has revealed he picked Frank Lampard for the Rangers job over current boss Philippe Clemont. Philippe Clemont insists the noise around Graeme Souness' remarks over the Ibrox job aren't a concern.
And I'm not here to talk about rumours or things that are spread, half spread, because that was not the real story, what he said.
Nicky Devlin branded the decision not to award Aberdeen a penalty in the defeat to PAOK bizarre.
I don't really know how else you can describe it other than bizarre. It's a penalty kick.
Yeah, lots to talk about. It was almost a really good week for Scottish clubs in European football, but there's a few things that left a sour taste in the mouth. Well, overall, Ruffy, I think Rangers will be happy with the scoreline.
Yeah, most definitely. When you look at the group, you know, they're in it, they've got a home game coming up, you know, which they would want to win. You know, I think of all the obviously, you know, the Championship group, it's a Europa group, you know, which they should do particularly well. But no, I thought the first half performance was poor. If it hadn't been for the goalkeeper, they might have been 2-0 down. But the second half they regrouped, and the second half they could have just snatched it in the end. Yeah, I mean, overall, I think Philippe Clemont will look and say he's got a bit to do. But, you know, sometimes you have to ride your luck in European football, as you well know, Neil.
Yeah, I mean, you're away from home against a very good side. You're going to be under pressure. You do need your goalkeeper, Ruffy. You know, and Butland, you know, made a couple of, you know, decent saves. And to be fair to Rangers, they came on strong once he made a few changes and Danilo hit the bar. So I think all in all they'll be delighted with coming away with not only the point but a clean sheet. And, you know, gives them a foothold in the group, which is after Limassol, you know, is a big boost. The next one's a home game against Sparta, which you would think that there will be favourites going into that game. But overall, yeah, I mean, it's a good start for Clemont. Yeah, if you have a look at the group table, Tam, I think this is wide open for Rangers to really make a move on it. This is Sparta are there for the taking.
Yeah, they are. I think that they can't get beat at home to Sparta. I think even a point. I think they'll beat Aris Limassol at home. To be honest with you, I think they'll. You know, but they can't get beat off of Sparta because I think it's going to be out of them for second place. So if they beat Sparta Prague and beat Limassol, they'll be through. He wouldn't put it past them, but yeah, last night I thought Rangers defended really, really well, and it was almost like Sparta Prague. It was like rope-a-dope. It was like they punched themselves out for 60-70 minutes. I thought the goal was coming, and then I don't know if they tired Sparta Prague or they ran out of ideas, but then Rangers started to grow into the game, and Neil's right, the substitutions gave them a boost. But defensively I thought they looked pretty solid, and that'll give them encouragement, but they need more quality in the final third. You know, Dessers again, Lammers, not good enough, and that's the area that he's got to strengthen big time in January. Yeah, OK, if that's Rangers happy with a point in their group, it looked really good for Aberdeen. I just cannot believe what unfolded before my eyes. I mean, it was absolutely agony watching it.
Yeah, I thought, you know, Barry set his team up well. They weren't great first half, but they came out the block second half and get a 2-goal lead. The changes sort of maybe he needed to make the changes to freshen the legs up because he put so much into it. And then as soon as he made the changes to get a break with a goal pack. But there's no question in my mind, Peter, you know, Aberdeen should have had the penalty. You know, I don't understand why it wasn't looked at again, because even at the time in live action I thought that looks a penalty to me. Yeah. And then when you see it from a certain angle, it's a clear penalty. And why this is the whole debate over VAR, why they get simple decisions so wrong with all the technology they have in front of them is bizarre. PAOK's was a penalty and it was given, but Aberdeen's was a definite as well, and I don't understand why that wasn't given.
Yeah, I think that's the real consternation and anger that's coming from Pittodrie, and you can understand that from a manager, because if that penalty is given, it changes the whole complexion of the game again, Ruffy.
Yeah, before I get to that one, I would have thought that the penalty they got was a bit dubious. I know it was right on the line and he stood in his foot, but it's not an intentional stamping. He's not coming in trying to take the boy out.
Still more.
You know, You think so? Just because he stands on his foot?
Aye. I think it's a penalty. I think both of them are penalties, Tom.
Yeah. Well, listen, it'll not be the first time we've disagreed on this show, Ruffy. But the second one is...
I'd be more upset with the 2 goals that Aberdeen lost. I don't know what the centre half was doing, coming sliding in and not getting anywhere near it.
I think he tripped.
Another bad header, I don't know if he stays at the back. So if I was him, I'd be concentrating on the goals they lost. Yeah, you can always say, yeah, we should have got a penalty or not got a penalty. But at the end of the day, the goals that you're losing is costing you the game.
Yeah, well, Nicky Devlin, I think, summed up the sentiments of everyone connected with Aberdeen on that penalty shout.
Listen, seeing it back is just bizarre, really. I don't really know how else you can describe it other than like bizarre. It's a penalty kick. I think anyone that's watched the game tonight on telly was here. It's a penalty kick. I don't think at that stage of the game, this kind of competition, I don't think those decisions can be wrong like that. Not when it's that blatant.
This is when we need the VAR people to tell us why. They need to come out and be more vocal.
Well, I think what Neil's point is, Ruffy, if you're having a look at certain incidents when somebody's standing on his toe, you surely must alert the referee and say, listen, you've said it's not a penalty. We've had a look at it from 3... They get 3 or 4 different angles and they get it in double quick time, Ruffy. So I don't know how on earth they could have looked at that and thought, well, we've seen it from 4 angles, doesn't look a penalty. He never even touched the ball.
It was a clear penalty.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It would be more clearer to us, you know, if there was some kind of vocal, for somebody to come out and say this is why we never gave the penalty.
I'll tell you why, Ruffy, right? Because they know after the game they've made a huge mistake. You've seen it in the Premier League where, you know, coaches like Gary O'Neill at the start of the season, and I think Klopp as well, they've had apologies from the head of the referees because they've got the decision wrong. In Europe, I'm not sure they want to do that, but that is, you know, as clear a penalty as you'll see, and I don't think they want to come out and go, sorry, we've made a mistake here, Barry, when they should do, because it's, I agree with you, I don't understand the confusion of it. It's simple black and white. You know, if it was like borderline, I could understand it, but when you see it from one of the angles at ground level, you know, it's clear that, you know, Vitinho was just taking McKenzie out and it's a clear penalty. So whether they do it publicly, UEFA, I don't know, or whether there's been talks behind the scenes, but it's no good to Barry now because the game's gone.
Yeah, the other aspect of it, which I think we all agree on, is Aberdeen's defending was atrocious. See when they lost the first one, I mean, embarrassing when the guy gets down. I was wondering, I thought to myself, there must have been a sniper in the crowd. It's one of those ones where you're embarrassed for him. And then the second part of it is, when they got that first goal, I was actually sitting there thinking, they're going to collapse.
I thought PAOK were very, very poor up until that goal. I didn't think they particularly fancied it. I think it was a windy night, rain. I just thought, they're not at it tonight. They made 9 changes from the weekend, the manager as well. I thought they took Aberdeen a bit lightly and Aberdeen got in about them. Didn't like it. First 5 minutes, I think it was Shinnie gave somebody a slap. The boy got up and started greeting to the referee, and I thought straight away, I don't think they fancy this here. And they didn't, but they got the goal, and I think it was the boy Jensen who tripped over his own feet, and it gave them a lifeline. He made some changes and that gave them a lifeline, and then the second goal was a wee bit unlucky. It's a deflection and goes in, but the third goal, the big boy Rubizic at the back, he's got that in him. He tries to win every tackle. He can't win every ball as a centre half, and I don't know if obviously Barry's been telling him, but every time a ball comes in, whether it's a header or a tackle, he tries to win it, even if it's a 20-80 in the other boy's favour, and that's cost him because it's a penalty kick. He stood on his foot. Aberdeen would have taken a point at that point, but it's a stonewall penalty kick and it's him diving in again. So, okay, we can talk about the penalty, but it's a real collapse from Aberdeen from 2-0 up.
Yeah, I'll tell you another thing, Neil. Sometimes you see players that are young and you think, player, he's going to be on the move soon. You know, everybody possibly looked and was an easy hit to say Jude Bellingham at 16 at Birmingham, he's going to do wonders. I remember you playing in a game, and if my memory serves me correct, you played for Celtic against Anderlecht. And I watched a 17-year-old Vincent Kompany, and I thought, what a player he is. And Constanti, I think I've got his name. I'm going to.
Good luck with that, Pete.
Yeah, it's Constantelius.
What a player!
What about his skill?
The run they had in the box where he's sort of double drag back, and then he's sold the dummy again, then hit the post. And even his composure for the first goal, Peter, where the defenders come in and he's failed, but he still has the presence of mind to slip it square for the Bulgarian striker to tap it in. So yeah, he looked, listen, all night long, he looked, a lovely footballer. In those conditions, well balanced, both feet, bit of pace about him. Looked a real talent, yeah.
Yeah, the group table, Ruffy, when you think about what Aberdeen could have achieved against HJK Helsinki and what they had within their grasp against PAOK, that table could have looked oh so different.
Yeah, that's when you get to that level, that's what it's all about. Getting your chances when they're there and taking them. It's not been there. It looks as if it's gone. But that, looking at that group, they'll have to. There's no way down. There's a 10 at sixes after the conference or anything like that.
No, there's no drop. There's no. There is a real potential on this show for us to alienate ourselves from certain clubs from time to time. But no drop down. In fact, interestingly enough, this is the last year of any drop down.
Oh, really?
This is it. Now it's just one hit straight into the Champions League. And if you're out, you're out. And then Europa League and Conference League the same, because they've structured it in such a way that there's bigger pots for everybody.
Yeah, that's right.
But there's no dropping in now.
It's first and second still going through. It's just the third's not dropping down. First and second in the group.
In the Champions League. It's a different setup.
No, it's a totally different setup now.
It's a setup, but these
like
groups,
now, isn't it?
but there's the first two in this group go through. It's just the third. There's no drop.
There's no drop. Yeah. So the other thing I was going to say to you guys, the other team that we haven't spoken about as far as European competition before we get on to the weekend's Scottish Premiership fixtures is Celtic Atletico. It was great to see you and Martin back together. Also great to see the two of you sitting together without him bollocking you for something that you've done wrong, which was a bonus. But what about the first half performance, Neil?
One of the best I've seen for a long time from Celtic. Just the pace and the quality of football. The two goals were magnificent. The pass from O'Reilly, the reverse pass to Kyogo takes three players out. That is, a high tariff pass. And, Maeda's movement for the second goal and the quality of pass from Taylor. And Palma still has a lot to do, but they were inspired. They're up against a top team, and that brings the best out in you. And for me, they showed that they can compete at that level. The big question was always, could they maintain it after half-time? Because it's always, when you're playing that well and when you're flowing, and then you come in at half-time, Tom, it's like you have that 15 minutes cool down. It's really hard to pick it up again, and of course the intensity of the crowd is diminished because of half-time, and you could see that, the backhanded compliment for Celtic was Sumi only made 2 substitutions, and they had obviously an impact on the second half, and they came on strong and scored a great second goal. They're always in the game, Atletico, because they're a top team.
Yeah.
But, Brendan could feel the game, getting away from them, so he decided to change the formation and bring on another defender. And I think it was a great point for them. Gets them on the map in the group. But certainly from an overall perspective, it was a very good night for Celtic.
Is it fair to say that can you make that jump and that leap in the conversation to say you can see him slowly but surely trying to get this team used to what you have to do in Europe? Because as you mentioned there, and this has been a familiar tale over the last 2 or 3 years for Celtic, great first half, Real Madrid, great 60 minutes, and then the European teams think, well, this game lasts 90 minutes, I'm going to pick my moment.
It's always the same, can you maintain that level of energy and intensity? The other thing is, I'm not convinced at that level they've got the depth that he would be looking for to play that way. So it's just small steps at the minute, Peter, I think, in terms of that Champions League. But, for the first 45 minutes, some of the football was breathtaking. Yeah,
and from a football perspective on it, the second half, I think all of us knew that, Atletico were going to come back into it. He hasn't been there that long without being a quality manager who knows how to make tactical changes. The second goal's top drawer, Tam, but I can't help but feel when the initial tackle comes in, I thought maybe Greg Taylor could have actually closed him down or put a tackle in and stopped that angle for him. I mean, the ball in is magnificent. The header's brilliant.
Yeah, he just hesitated for that split second, and at that level you get punished. I think he'd already been booked, and maybe he thought, if I dive in here, and I could get sent off. It's a great ball in, great header, but that's what happens at that level. I thought Taylor got caught out a couple of times in the second half. But as Neil says, they're a top team. I think they had 3 or 4 World Cup winners in their team. You know, and Morata, who's won the Champions League, they're a top outfit, and it's always going to be difficult for Celtic to do it for over 90 minutes. But I think the performances this season have been really positive from Celtic. Neil's right. With the amount of subs to bring on, if you've got strength and depth on the bench, and you can after 60 minutes you can bring like for like on. You know, you can bring a Kyogo, a Maeda off and bring like for like on, then you can maintain it for 90 minutes. But Celtic have not got that at the minute, and that's where Brendan's got to try and get in the January window or the end of the season, going into next season. A pool of 16, 17, 18 quality players, rather than Celtic at the minute maybe 12 or 13. I think they're 4 or 5 short of competing over 90 minutes.
Yeah, and the other point that I can hear everybody talking about, especially you when you were working under Martin, and I'm not just singling out Greg Taylor here, I'm just talking about your unit when you played European football. The one thing that he used to be incandescent with rage from the sidelines, stop the cross.
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, a basic of the game. I have sympathy for Greg because Bernardo got the challenge in, and he's in 2 minds then, Peter, whether to commit or because he had a player on the outside, and he decided sort of just that split second to back off, and it just gave Laurenti the sort of half yard to put in the cross. But once the cross comes in, you still have to deal with it.
Yeah.
And, you know, we're talking about Greg not stopping the cross, but, you know, the ball's going to cross Carter Vickers as well. And I'm sort of thinking maybe if he takes, you know, just that extra step towards the goal, he might be able to get something on it before it bounces to Morata. It's all ifs, buts and maybes, like, you know, but I just think in the throes of the game, in that moment, Greg was just in 2 minds whether, as Tom said, he was on a yellow. Could he commit to it? He might not have made it, or the guy might have slipped in the outside fullback. So, yeah, I mean, you have to remember you're playing against quality players as well, like, you know, who can hurt you at any time. I thought Atletico's response was good because Celtic were really at it and they started the game off brilliantly, and then they get the penalty, which, you know, you can debate whether it was or not, but their response from going a goal down twice was what you would expect from a top team.
Yeah, and Matt O'Reilly picked up man of the match. How highly do you rate him?
I rate him really high. I'm not sure about him being man of the match for the game, but I think he's been outstanding. I see massive strides in his progression over particularly this season under Brendan. He's got a bit of everything. He's got goals, he's got assists. You know, he's got a really good engine, good size. I mean, he has really blossomed into. He's the best player in Scotland at the minute, I think.
22 as well, Neil. He's only a boy. You know, he's still got so much potential.
I'll tell you one guy that I'd like to mention, Ruffy, that I think is deserving of praise. On the basis that they've signed Nerofsky and Lagerbielke, Liam Scales is playing alongside Carter Vickers.
Yeah, he is. You know, he's not let himself down. There are wee bits during the game when he gets caught, wee bit sloppy and that, but on the whole, you know, for where he was to where he is now, playing Champions League football, if he just keeps improving, you know, and getting the experience, getting these big European games under his belt, he'll not be going back to Aberdeen.
Yeah, no, I don't think that was on the cards anyway, Ruffy.
I love to get Aberdeen, Ruffy.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's 2 down. Wait till we get to
Dig
him.
at Aberdeen.
Calm your jets.
Dig at Aberdeen.
Yeah, Brendan Rodgers, no surprise, really happy with the effort that his players put in.
But our reaction in the game was superb, and everything that I'd wanted in terms of playing together, pressing with the intensity and a really aggressive mentality, and then having the courage and the bravery to play. And so it was very, very good. What we expect in the second half for them to have a spell in the game, but they didn't create so much.
Downside, Hatate looks a bad one according to Brendan Rodgers.
He's struggling a little bit with muscle injuries at the minute. I don't know if it's the training or it's just him developing as a guy, as a human. I don't know what it is, but it looks like another bad one. And he was just starting to hit top form. I thought he was excellent against Hearts at the weekend. Maybe it's the workload, maybe it's the amount of games playing midweek. He can't do it at the minute. He's not strong enough. His body isn't. So, but Celtic have got players to come in. I thought Bernardo came in. I thought he played pretty well. So. They've got strength and depth in the middle of the pitch, but there's no doubt that's going to be a blow, particularly for the bigger games. Yeah, absolutely. Here's the group table. Neil, how would you assess Celtic in the remaining games after that performance?
I think it's going to be difficult for them to get anything in Madrid. I think they can get something in Lazio. And I mean, Feyenoord have been the surprise package for me because in the opening game I didn't think they were great, but they've put in a couple of really good performances against Madrid away and then obviously Lazio at home. Still, third place is up for grabs. I don't see any reason to doubt that, but if Lazio beat Feyenoord in Rome, it's going to be a tall order then, Peter.
Yeah.
The one that got away from them was the Lazio game at home. That was an opportunity, not just, well, certainly not to lose it. They could have won it, but certainly, you know, to lose it in the manner that they did was sort of, you know, a real hammer blow. But, you know, they've put in a great performance against Atletico. Sometimes these games are a bit of a free hit. You play your best against the big teams. They've got to raise their game again for the next 3 games.
Just one other little footnote, which again, because some people, you know, and it's difficult, and I don't mean to be pedantic about this, but some people have got selective hearing when it comes to red hot issues, and the issue that we've been debating over the last couple of weeks with regards to the flying of the Palestinian flag, so as not to get any misrepresentation on this. We don't comment on the Middle East, the problems that are faced by people suffering the loss of their loved ones from Israel or Palestine. That's nothing to do with us in this football show. What we do mention about the flying of the Palestine flag is that Celtic have been fined before because apparently it breaks the UEFA rules, and we're still waiting to see if there will indeed be another fine coming Celtic's way for the flying of that flag. Nevertheless, I mean, Scotland's First Minister Humza Yousaf has defended fans' right to fly the flags. He said at Holyrood when he was asked about it, we're a democratic society, people can wave Israeli flags, Palestinian flags, Scottish flags, Union Jacks, they can wave them all. But that's not the debate on the democracy of it all, Ruffy. It's on whether they break UEFA rules. That's the only issue that I think the next 24 to 48 hours will bring a reply from UEFA.
Yeah, everybody's been well aware of it, you know, that UEFA do not like that, not just at Celtic Park, anywhere else in Europe. You know, anybody who does the same gets punished. So you know what's going to happen as soon as you do it. So you are going to get punished, and it's the club that's going to get punished more than anybody else, because I don't think anybody else is going to chip in to pay the fine when it comes. But the worrying thing for me is how long is it going to go on for, and what's the end? What is the end product with UEFA saying to Celtic? Right, we've warned you enough, and you are warning your supporters. There's no doubt about that, but they're not listening to you. So this is the end deal, and that end could get shut.
Yeah,
you know, that's it might be a way well down the road, but that's the way these things go.
Okay, it's an ongoing issue. We'll wait to see what, if anything, comes Celtic's way on that one. Here's a look at the Scottish Premiership fixtures. Stand out for you, Tam?
Yeah, I'm Celtic. I think it's important for Nick Montgomery after, you know, a poor performance and poor result last week. Interested to see what formation he starts. Does he stick with the 4-4-2 that he employed at Ibrox? Does he go a little bit more defensive, because they're playing the best team in the country, coming off a fantastic performance in Europe? I think he's got to be a little bit more pragmatic in his approach. Will he stick to his guns? Will he go 4-4-2 again? We'll wait and see. But I think that's a standout game for me. I think that'll be a very open game. Yeah, it's going to be an absolute belter. Really looking forward to it. And as far as Hibs are concerned, Nick Montgomery, Celtic are the best team in the league. They can punish us, despite the fact they have a huge financial advantage over them. He says money has never won a game of football. No, it helps, but it certainly helps. You know, Celtic obviously, you know, even dwarf Rangers in terms of budget and money. So, listen, Hibs need to play out their skin. They need to ride their luck. Everything needs to go for Hibs to get a result. But if Celtic turn up and play well, there's only going to be one winner, and that's just the way it is. That's just the gap between Hearts, Hibs we've seen last week, and to Celtic Rangers.
Yeah, East versus West. Let's find out what's happening in the Hibs camp with Patrick Mullen.
Hibernian take on Celtic on Saturday afternoon in a game that Nick Montgomery has described as his biggest test yet since becoming Hibernian boss. It was such a disappointing 4-0 defeat last weekend against Rangers, and Montgomery says his side will have to improve to get anything against the best team in the league.
Look, I think the league table shows you they're the best team in the league right now, and they are a fantastic team. Brendan's done a great job with them since taking over, and yeah, you know, it's always about us. Obviously, you know, we give full respect to the opposition, and yeah, we need to defend better as a team.
There may be huge financial disparities between Hibernian and Celtic, but Nick Montgomery has assured us that there is no one in this training ground thinking of tomorrow as a free hit.
Not really. I don't think there's ever a free hit. It's 11 v 11, you know, and money's never won a game of football. But what it does provide you is a big squad and a lot of quality. And as an opposition, you need to concentrate and be switched on at every moment.
Okay, Ruffy, when you consider that Celtic have come off the back of a tough game against Atletico Madrid, all the exertions of the 90 minutes and beyond, is there a chance here for Hibs to maybe lay a glove on them?
There's always a chance, but the evidence the last week at Ibrox, you know, they'd have to improve dramatically. It looked as if he was trying to build up for the back, you know, and the players just never bought into it. You know, they didn't know, you know, when to give and when to give it back. They were getting caught left, right and centre. Rangers were shutting them down. Celtic play at a different pace, you know, I think that's what will hurt them. But defensively, they're just losing too many goals. And when you come up against Celtic, they will be buoyant from the 2 each result. So I would think Celtic will get in there. They might 1 or 2 changes, but even though it's just 1 or 2, there's another 5 or 6 sitting on the bench waiting on their chance.
And great hope, I think, for people of a certain age, Ruffy, that you've managed to fill in the predictor on the app on your own, which is so unusual.
Yeah, I had to check back to make sure that I had done it, because I was trying to convince myself that I had, you know, I thought I'd maybe filled in fixtures for next month.
So you've done well. I actually see at one point there, I thought Neil was just going to clap your head and say, well done, Ruffy.
I didn't know you had an email address.
Yeah.
An email address?
Yes,
Ruffy at 3worldcups.com.
Yeah, absolutely. What was your prediction then?
For the Celtic 2-0.
2-0. Neil?
You're right, but you make the point about, you know, it's always difficult after a Champions League game, but they've had a couple of days to recover. Hibs have got to start well, Peter. If they let Celtic dictate the tempo, they're going to struggle. I'll probably go 2 or 3-1 Celtic.
Yeah, I've got 3-1 Celtic, Tam. I mean, some Hibs fans are not happy with me at the moment. It's just a change from them not being happy with you.
That's I'll go for 3-1 to Celtic. I just think that Celtic with too much quality. I think Hibs need to stay in the game as long as possible. That would mean playing more defensive, and I don't think Nick Montgomery's going to play defensive. I think he's going to again have a go, and that could.
I don't think he can play 2 in midfield against them, Tom.
He can't play 4-4-2.
Hard tried that on Sunday, and you know you've seen what Celtic can do to you. He's going to have to put an extra body in there for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay, what have you got?
3-1.
Okay, and of course Rangers against Hearts. It's East versus West again, as it was the week before. So just before we talk about the game, an interesting story that came out, which Graeme Souness has talked about the process of helping. I think he's going to take on some kind of role at Ibrox, a consultancy role to help the board out, which if they think they need a football mind. And this is what he had to say with regards to the selection process. There were 2 outstanding candidates, Frank and Philippe. The final say wasn't with me. For me, Frank had the edge because of this. Frank, I think, has still got a great deal to offer. The thing that encouraged me about Frank is that he wanted to do it. He doesn't need the money. He wants to be a successful manager. And he fancied the Rangers job. Okay, everybody's got the right to offer their thoughts on it. This is what the Rangers manager, Philippe Clemont, made of that.
It's good. So that's a good lesson for me now that I read everything that he said, because the things you say, you put it in a different perspective. So I'm not going into those talks or rumors or all this noise about things, because I'm here to do a sportive job. I'm here to build a team, to make a team stronger, and I'm not here to talk about rumors or things that are spread, half spread, because that was not the real story, what he said.
Yeah, must have been a slow day for news. But I have to be honest with you, Ruffy, if I thought for a minute that... I mean, I can understand the connection with Graeme Souness. I can't understand that he would prefer Frank Lampard. I just don't get it. If I was a Rangers fan, I'd be filled with dread at the thought that Frank Lampard was... No disrespect to Frank Lampard, but as a manager that Rangers were looking for, he was not high in a list.
Yeah, but as we all know, everybody's entitled to their own opinion. You know, I think Graeme obviously thought very highly of him. You know, maybe, he'd seen the inner sanctum of what he'd done, not particularly well at Chelsea, but he maybe saw something that we didn't see. I have to say, further down in that interview, that he was very complimentary of the new Rangers manager, Graeme.
Yeah.
In that article, he didn't sort of distance him of, can't believe you picked him and never picked him.
No.
So, you know, I think for that aspect, I can see where you're coming from. I don't know why that's out there.
Neither I.
I haven't a clue.
I don't understand the timing of it, or why it's irrelevant.
It's a slow news day.
It's totally irrelevant. Philippe's in there, and I'm sure you can get the full support of everyone at the club.
What do you think from the point of view of, I mean, I think Rangers and Graeme Souness' association goes back to that period where obviously he started off the 9 in a row, but Walter Smith predominantly, you know, for I think 7.5 of them finished it all. What do you think about his consultancy role? Will that be a huge benefit? Because John Bennett has changed that board considerably.
I think it'll be a benefit, yeah. I mean, he's a man of vast experience, a wonderful footballer, and, you know, he's had a great career as a manager. One of the best pundits around from my point of view. You know, he's managed Liverpool, Galatasaray, Blackburn, Newcastle. So why wouldn't you want to tap into that sort of fountain of knowledge if it's there, and if he's willing to help the club out? Rangers still means a lot to him. He's been in the cauldron of being a player and a manager in Glasgow, so he knows what it's all about. And I think he relishes that as well, because he's that sort of personality. I'm sure he'll be a benefit to the club going forward at whatever capacity that he holds.
Yeah, if Rangers win the league this year, it'd be a great chance for him to go out into the middle of the park with a huge flag and just fly it right into the centre spot. In this city?
I know, yeah.
He would even do that.
Absolutely. He mentioned he was certainly one of my favourite players in the Liverpool side. Second favourite, to be honest with you.
I don't know who your favourite is, the King. But no, listen, probably a wee bit before my time as a player. But my lasting impression of Graeme Souness is George McCluskey against Hibs.
Yes.
And he started the Rami. And Ruffy, I believe, is the only player that never got booked that day. Is that correct, Ruffy?
The second one, yeah, but I was already told, Peter, the whole story of that is I had already been booked.
Right.
So I
time wasting.
The red card, and I was complaining about the Rangers. I was complaining about the Rangers penalty that they got 15 minutes before that.
Just in case you don't know.
Did Rangers get a penalty? Yeah.
So penalty Rangers was still a thing back then. And
try not to get everybody against you. Just out of curiosity, just in case you don't know the story, as soon as puts his studs on George McCluskey's knee and leaves one on him, there's a full 21 player Rami, and Ruffy's nowhere to be seen. He's at the other end of the park, not getting involved.
booked every player bar Ruffy.
I've told you.
Oh, you were already booked?
Yeah, you're already booked, yeah. But you didn't fancy it anyway, Ruffy?
No, I wouldn't.
Because you're not a fighter, are
I
you?
remember saying to Graeme after it, I said, that was a bit bang out of order, that, was it no, with George? And he went, really?
Normal day at the office.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, Hearts, can they somehow produce a performance in this match? We sent our man Adam Binney through to find out what Stephen Naismith had to say.
I'm at the Orium to speak to the Hearts camp, who are hoping to bounce back from last weekend's disappointing 4-1 defeat to Celtic at Tynecastle when they take on Rangers at Ibrox Stadium on Sunday afternoon. The Jambos have won just 3 of their opening 9 league fixtures, leaving their fans far from pleased with their side's performances, and manager Stephen Naismith is now well aware of the pressure he is under.
When you're not winning games, or you're going through periods where it's not as picture perfect as it can be, then there's going to be pressure. So understand that. The way to relieve that or make things look better is by winning games. So we need to try and do that by starting by Sunday.
Hearts really have struggled for consistency. You have to go all the way back to January for the last time that this side were able to put together 2 consecutive league victories in a row. But for defender Toby Sibbick, he believes a big win this weekend against top opposition could help kickstart their league season.
Yeah, I think so. If we obviously get the 3 points there, I think that could be the start of our season. So obviously we're going to go out there with a game plan to frustrate them and obviously attack them at the same time. So we just don't want to sit in and defend. We want to go out there and play with intent to win the game.
Well, if they do get any kind of result from there, that would be a huge shot in the arm for Stevie Naismith, because he desperately needs something to kickstart this season, because there's a few grumblings in the background.
Yeah, and I think the Hearts are obviously they're the fan-owned club, and the foundation of Hearts, they call the shots. They put money in every month, And we've seen with Robbie Nielsen, he had a bad patch and it was ruthless, he was out the door. So I just don't think they've got started at all this season. Hearts have not had any consistency, they've not put 3-4 good results together back to back. And the pressure is starting to build. It's not a great time to go to Ibrox. You know, Philippe Clemont's come in, Boynt, 2 clean sheets in a row. Just off the back of beating Hibs comfortably the week before. So tough game for Hearts, and I don't see them getting anything out this game. I think Rangers have got too much quality, and I just think Hearts are not playing well enough, and they've not got enough confidence at the minute to go to Ibrox and get something.
So, prediction?
I think comfortable for Rangers, 3-0.
2-0 for me, Neil. I mean, I know Stephen Naismith wants the team to be more direct, wants them to play in the front foot. It just hasn't, that style hasn't quite developed yet.
Yeah, I mean, I admired Stephen as a player. You know, particularly when he was at Rangers, he was always a handful and, you know, gutsy, you know, and he was a very intelligent player. I look at his team and it's the total opposite of him on Saturday or Sunday, that was for sure. They never laid a glove on Celtic, and I just didn't get what they were trying to do. It's not just losing to Celtic, it's the manner in which they lost as well, Peter, that'll gall a lot of people. So he has to turn this around, remedy it quickly. Have they got the players time to sit in and soak up pressure? I don't know. I don't know what Hearts are at the minute. Are they a counter-attacking team? Are they a possession team?
There's no clear identity.
No, exactly. So he's struggling with that, and they're going to be on the back foot. You know, you'd imagine Rangers with a little bit of momentum at the minute, particularly at home. You know, I wouldn't say it's a comfortable win, but I think they'll win.
With that in mind, I'm just looking at that side there and his team. I mean, as I show you his team that played against Celtic in the 4-1 defeat, has he got the players that should be doing better for him?
I looked at them and, you know, Cochrane looked like he was a match fit. Shanklin we know is a proven player, but they're almost playing him as a 10. You know, the formation was a little bit... I struggled to see what the formation was. A 4-4-2, like, you know, with the Shanklin and the little sort of Portuguese player up front. It just didn't work.
Yeah, Vargas.
Vargas, yeah, and then the 2 boys in midfield, Devlin and the Australian boy, got overrun. You know, you can't do that. Go into the game like that and play against the best midfield in the country with a man less.
Yeah.
Then you need your fullbacks and you need your wingers to be on point. And it was a big ask to play that way.
Lowry?
He was a bit hit and miss in the game, I have to say. He's got talent, like, but, you know, it looked like he was trying to force things. For me, like, they lacked physicality, Peter, and they lacked a bit of legs as well. And that's totally the opposite of what you used to face at Hearts at Tynecastle, where they were a big, strong team, where you'd have to deal with set plays, long throws, physicality. Maybe they're trying to get away from that and play a more conducive style of football. It's not working, and the one thing you need in this game, particularly with the way the environment is, you need results.
Yeah.
First of all, you need results. Then the performances can come with that, but he's not getting either at the minute.
Yeah, I've got 2-0 to Rangers.
2-0 for me, yeah.
Ruffy?
2-0 for me.
Okay. Killie against Aberdeen. It's a strange old situation here at the moment where nobody's really getting... I mean, we've had some good early season for them, Motherwell, St Mirren at times. Nobody's really picking up a head of steam other than the ones that you would expect. Kilmarnock, Aberdeen, Ruffy. Killie 5th, 2 wins from 9 games this season in the league.
Yeah, they needed that win last week. You know, you could tell with Eric's... the way he was talking about games, they needed 3 points. It was okay picking up a point here, a point there, but the 3 points takes you up the league, and that's what it did. He'll be looking at this game, he'll be looking at Aberdeen coming off the back of that late defeat in midweek. He might think, well, we could get in it about them right away. Big boy scoring a couple of goals, you know. I think Kilmarnock will think they can get something out of this game, but I was impressed with Aberdeen defensively against this level, Kilmarnock. So I think they may get in there and get a 1 each.
As far as Kilmarnock are concerned, everybody's talking about the fact that Gary Mackay-Steven is training there, whether it's just for fitness or whether he's impressing enough. Derek McInnes hasn't actually decided to pounce just yet with a contract.
I think it works both ways. We can help Gary and we get a look at Gary as well, so we're all pretty relaxed about it, but I don't think there'll be anything imminent on that. Certainly the conversations I've had with Gary, we'll just try to not put too much pressure on him, just get himself back into a kind of routine and training again. That said, he has been looking pretty good, so
Okay, if I was Derek, I'd be when you've got a guy who's out of contract.
I wouldn't be saying that, by the way. Somebody might come in and snap him up.
No, but at the end of the day, anything you can get. If you've got a budget there and somebody said, right, if he performs,
that's what it'll boil down to. Has he got the money? Has he got the budget to bring him in? It'll probably just be a deal at the end of the season. I don't think Gary Mackay-Steven would be looking for massive money. I think it's a great opportunity for him to get back into the Premier League. He's kind of disappeared off the radar, hasn't he, the last year, 18 months? Injury problems, inconsistency at Hearts. But I think a player like that, if you give him a wee carrot at the end of the season, I think you might get something out of him. You might get a wee boost. And listen, there's no doubt in his quality. On his day, he's a very, very good player. And I think he gives Kilmarnock something different. You get Armstrong on the other side, on the right-hand side, cutting onto his left. And maybe Armstrong on the other side. That'd be good for Vassell. Good service for both of them.
Oh, you mentioned the player that I think's the star man for them, Vassell's.
Yeah.
His goals last week were top drawer, weren't they?
Excellent, yeah. And he gives Derek everything. He's Derek's style of player, big, robust centre forward who leads the line brilliantly, and he can head the ball, which is a dying art in the game. I thought his goals were fantastic last week. He's been a big plus for Kilmarnock. On Mackay-Steven, Derek had him at Aberdeen, so you know the player inside out. Might be a little bonus ball for him if he can prove his fitness. And I fancy Kilmarnock on Sunday, isn't it? I fancy Kilmarnock to eke a win out. I think Aberdeen will be, pretty sort of flat after last night.
Just out of curiosity on that, we always like to get people's insight into it from who you've been playing with. Heading the ball, I love the fact that you said it's almost like a dying art, as there were some real quality players that could head the ball. Who was the best player you played with that you thought of? That
I know who you're going to. I don't know who you're. Well, you might not say.
Yeah, hold on a minute.
I thought you were going to say Larson.
Yeah.
Hey, yeah.
For the size of him.
Well, I mean, his power for being like that.
Yeah.
He's only 5'11". He got out jump centre halves, and his timing in the air was incredible. And he could head it from both sides. If it was coming in from the right or coming in from the left. Sutton and Hodgson as well were awesome headers of the ball. I played with Emile Heskey at Leicester and a couple of other boys, Ian Marshall. But I mean, Henrik for his stature and his size was just incredible.
Yep, thought you might say that. As far as Aberdeen are concerned, Ruffy, are they able to bounce back? Can you bounce back from that? Do they need to? Because I'm amazed, but some people have talked about on chat forums, and I don't like to veer towards anything like that. But some boys have been saying to me, Aberdeen fans are not happy with Barry Robson at the moment.
No, I can't buy into that. I know they'll be disappointed for the European campaign. There's no doubt about that. But this is the manager's job to lift the players. They will be on a downer, as Neil said. But this is when a manager earns his corn. To get them back on board. That's why I think they still have good players, better players than I think Kilmarnock. But I think Kilmarnock have just got something in that win, so I went one each.
If you'd have looked at the game last night, when Aberdeen were 2-0 up, the place was bouncing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They end up losing the game. They can't go from that mind shift to that in a quick succession. Plus the group's difficult, Pete. Eintracht Frankfurt, PAOK are quality teams. So I wasn't expecting Aberdeen to beat these teams. But they put up a really good fight last night. But maybe the style of play is something that the fans are looking at. But Barry knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
And he's gone to Ibrox and got a hell of a result a few weeks ago.
Is it a learning curve for him then? The one thing I thought about last night, and I bow to your superior knowledge on this, you can give us an insight, and this will be a learning curve for Barry. I mean, I think it's a preposterous statement. I'm just throwing it out there. But I looked at the game at 2-0 up, and automatically the only thing that was in my head was game management, shut up shop, 4-5-1.
Yeah, but he was that all night.
Yeah.
He made the 3 substitutions, to freshen things up, because obviously he's looking at the players going, maybe fatiguing a little bit.
Yeah.
And he, for me, he did everything right. His formation last night was basically 1-4-5-1, it was 5-4-1.
Yeah.
And they soaked up whatever possession that PAOK had, and then come out. The second goal's a great goal on the counter-attack.
Brilliant.
The running power of Poldara was fantastic, and then you got Duke. Miofsky took his goal well, who I really like. A really good player at this level. And you're thinking of 2-0, he's made the changes, see it through now. But Ruffy talked about it and Tom talked about it. You can't legislate for individual mistakes. Johnny Hayes is a senior player. He's heading the ball on his knees for no reason whatsoever. Could have took that down and cleared it. Not that I'm blaming Johnny for anything, but just individual mistakes cost him. And then obviously the controversy with the penalty. But if they'd have come away with a positive result last night, all that talk on chat forum would be dead. It means nothing.
Yeah.
I think Aberdeen are unlucky to be sitting with 1 point. I think the performance.
No, I get that, and I'm now asking the question as you go through a learning curve. I know it means. I get what you're talking about sometimes with erratic behaviour of fan forums and people out on the street. But the key element here is he has to go through that learning curve of saying, well, it might mean nothing, but results at times when you're building something can kill you. So he's got to bounce back here.
I think they've just got to put it at the back of their mind. He's just got to concentrate on the performance. They're 5 unbeaten in the league.
Yeah.
As Neil said, they went to Ibrox a couple of weeks ago. They're well capable of going to Kilmarnock and winning the game.
Prediction?
3-1,
Kelly.
I think it's going to be difficult, but I think 1 each.
Yeah, I've got 1 each.
I think it's hard to call a winner.
1-0 or 2-1 Kelly for me.
Yeah.
What are you laughing at?
You've just given the strongest defence ever. For Barry?
Yeah, but I just think on the surface, I think it's a really tough game for him.
Right, okay.
1 each or 2-1?
No,
it's 1-0.
1-0 or 2-1 with the odd goal for
I'm
Kelly.
going to go 1 each, maybe 2-1, 3-1 or 4-1.
Yeah.
Oh, don't stop. All right. I'll go 1-0 Kelly.
Right, go on. What are you going?
I went 1 each.
Right, okay. Motherwell against Ross County. Motherwell 6, 3 wins from 9, and it all started.
Pierre, every stat that comes up here is a team that's got 2 wins out of 9, 3 wins out of 9. There's no consistency outside the Celtic, really.
Well, to be fair, at the early part of the season, we were all starting to say, Motherwell and St Mirren, you were looking at the nice positive, or little periods, flashes in the early part of this.
Maybe that's what you can get with these teams, Peter. We're looking at, ultimately you're looking at the top 2, and then you're looking at Hibs, Hearts, Aberdeen, and there's been no consistency from either of those 3. Maybe Aberdeen finding a little bit of, consistency. But you don't expect it from... Motherwell, played very, very well, but it's really difficult for these teams to maintain it. Just either the quality that they have or the strength and depth.
Yeah.
I think the teams that like the Motherwells and St Mirrens and that show consistency. They show consistency when there's a fixture list when they're not playing Rangers and Celtic. When they're playing all the other teams they should be beaten, and that's when they get a wee run, a good start of 4 wins or whatever.
Yeah. Well, I have to say, we'll talk about St Mirren in a minute, but as far as Motherwell are concerned, Kerry Pollock was out at Fir Park.
Motherwell are returning to Premiership action this weekend against Ross County after the weather put a stop to their meeting with St Mirren last weekend. And Stuart Kettlewell says he is delighted to see Arsenal loanee Mika Bireth slowly but surely make his way back to the matchday squads.
He's been through a rigorous rehab with Arsenal. He's working with some of the best people that there are in terms of that medical side of things. And we've trusted that process, and we're delighted to get him back in the building today. I've just had a conversation with him there. He's in a real good place. It's always good when you have a lone player at a big club that is so excited to get back and get playing with you. He genuinely sees this as a real good stepping stone in his career. I think everyone had a little taste for what he might be about, and the kind of quality of player that he could be. We certainly believed that, and it was a blow for losing him for the period of time that we did. But with him coming back in today, getting him back on the training pitch today, I think it gives us another real boost, and I think it gives us another option up the top end of the park.
Now, having made his Scotland debut, Motherwell captain Liam Kelly says that the competition within the goalkeeping department of the national side certainly keeps him on his toes for when it comes to representing his country.
It's great. Great to see Big Craig back. I never really had any doubts that he was going to come back. I remember speaking about it quite early on. Kind of a freak in terms of how he moves for his age and all that. So I expect him to make a full recovery, and I'm glad he is, because he's an unbelievable goalkeeper. Probably one of the best the country's ever had, to be honest. The competition's there. Brilliant. Love it. Myself, Sander, Craig, Angus. I love it. It's great. All really good guys. All got on well. All desperate to play, and then if you don't play, you support the guy that plays.
Motherwell will be hoping to get back to winning ways this weekend, but Ross County won't make it easy for the Steelmen. It all takes place here at Fir Park. Kick-off is at 3 o'clock.
Yeah, good to see Mika Bireth coming back, hopefully playing a part from Motherwell, because he looked good when he
I spoke to a couple of boys that were in there, and they were raving about him. They thought he was outstanding in training, and then he played Hibs, and then I think he bullied, was at Hanlon, and scored the goal, and then he got chopped the next game or whatever it was. He's just coming back. Obviously, I think he'll be a big player for Motherwell. Obika's been out injured as well, so they've missed the both of them for different reasons. But this is a big game for both clubs again. Ross County 2 wins out of 8. All these teams are struggling a little bit. Ross County played during the week. Might be a decent time for Motherwell to get them. Don't see a lot of goals in this, to be honest. But I think Motherwell Might just edge it 1-0.
Yeah, Motherwell fans are absolutely fizzing at the moment, just because obviously there's just been a late announcement that Motherwell Rangers have been moved to Christmas Eve. I don't think the fans are too happy about that, and the club certainly mentioned that they were only told an hour before it was made public. So
the TV's up, is that on the TV? Don't know.
It could be one of those situations, but the club's apologised to the fans for the inconvenience. They're coming up against Ross County, who sit 11th, roughly 2 wins from 8 games. I have to say, although it was a dull one against Dundee in midweek, I'm impressed. I think Malky's, too long in the tooth. I don't see them having the last day nightmare.
No, I don't think so either. But again, he's like everybody else. He needs to start winning games. I think, again, they're good enough to maybe go there and get a draw. But I think Motherwell have had their wee lull spell. I think, obviously, with the players we're talking about coming back, I think they might just win 2-1.
Yeah. How do you see it, Neil?
I fancy Motherwell at home. I really like the look of Motherwell at the start of the season. They had a great result at Hearts, and I thought some of the football was excellent. I just think they'll have a bit too much quality for Ross County, so 2-1.
2-1, yep.
1-0 the Well.
1-0 the Well, I'll go 2-1 the Well. Livingston against Dundee, and you're absolutely right. Every stat that I'm firing out here is either 2 wins from 9 or 3 from 9, and Livy are 2 from 9.
Yeah, and they're still sitting in 7th place. They've won 2 games. It just shows you how everybody's cutting each other's throats outside the Celtic, really. Dundee, as you know, I'm good friends with Stuart Taylor. Spoke to him after the game during the week. He needs a goal scorer. I think they had 24 attempts at goal during the week.
Really?
They putting crosses in. They need somebody to score a goal. So I'm on the lookout for you, Stuart. But they need somebody in there, because I think they've drawn 5 games with 8. Dundee. They've been competitive. They went Easter Road and got a draw. This is going to be a tough game again. Don't see a lot of goals. Neither team scoring goals. And again, I think Livingston might just eke out a 1-0. I don't see a lot of goals in the game, but if Dundee can find someone who can put the ball in the back of the net, I think they might be okay this year.
Yeah, interestingly enough, the story that's doing the rounds is the fact that they could become, a feeder club, a relationship with Burnley, of all teams. That tells you the change in the fortunes of one club in the Premier League in England, and the predicament that Dundee find themselves in. But they could be in a situation where they might get some of the players that are not going to get into the Burnley side coming their way, and if they've got a little gem at Dundee, he can go the other way.
Yeah, why not? I mean, it's worked before with a lot of... Man City have got feeder clubs all around the world now, Peter. United used to do it with Antwerp and Belgium, where they'd loan out some of the younger players to gain experience. I'm sure Dundee have had a good look at it, and it's a really difficult transfer market for Scottish clubs. So I think it's imperative that they have good relationships, and this could be one that'll, catapult them forward a little bit in terms of bringing quality players in. Tom made the point that they're not scoring goals, but I think in general their performances have been decent, so I can't see them getting anything at the weekend, though. I fancy Livy to nick that one.
1-0?
Yeah.
I'm going 1-0.
I'm going to go Livy 2-1.
2-1?
1-0 Livy.
So a goals fest for Ruffy there. What about St Mirren against St Johnstone? The Battle of the Saints. Who better to cover the Paisley side than Adam Binney?
St Mirren will finally return to league action tomorrow. Last weekend's postponed match against Ross County, which followed an international break, means that it's actually been 3 weeks since they last played a competitive fixture. Tomorrow they will host St Johnstone, who they did struggle against last season, but manager Stephen Robinson is well aware that expectations have now increased.
Yeah, certainly. Look, it's a big game for us. Last season we only picked up 2 points against St Johnstone, which was disappointing. If you want to be a top 6 side, you have to try and put the bottom 6 to bed, as soon as you can. That means by beating them and taking points off them.
The manager was also able to provide an update on injured striker Jonah Ayunga, who has been missing for the last 9 months.
Yeah, Jonah played his first 45 minutes in competitive football for a long time, obviously, and scored. We had a bounce game here at the training ground, so we're delighted for him. He's came through that unscathed, but he's still a long way away from... I say a long way away. We need minutes and game time. Listen, I've got the best physio around in Jerry Docherty, and Jerry will tell me when he's ready to play. There's certain things we haven't ticked yet. I want Jonah back for the long term, not for 2 games. So I'm very much guided by the medical side of it. we're delighted with him. He's training every day. He's had no reaction, but we need minutes in his legs, and we'll get that over the coming weeks.
Okay, if St Mirren, and I think St Mirren have had a great start, you only have to look at where they are in the league, 15 points and third in the table, and they are on merit. So he's received all the plaudits, and he's come up against a side with no wins in 8, and they can't score a goal.
Yeah, I mean, Steve McLean's got real issues at St Johnstone. I think that they cut the budget in the summer. They've scored 3 league goals in 8 games. That is an incredible statistic. He must be doing crossing and finishing every day at training to try and find something. He'll be tinkering with formations. But I just don't think they're good enough, Peter, and I think I really fancy St Mirren in this game, actually, to win the game comfortably as well. I think if they get an early goal, I can see St Johnstone crumbling, so I'm going to go for 3-0 at St Mirren.
Yeah, and I'm talking about all the teams that you've managed, who was the best, out with Larsson and the teams that you played, who was the best finisher when you were a manager? You looked and you thought, my God, this is just instinct, it's brilliant. Yeah?
Oh yeah. He's so natural, Hooper, yeah. Griffith's great finisher as well. But Hoops had just so much natural finishing ability and could score all different kind of goals as well. He was prolific. And very, very good was back the goal in terms of bringing other players into the game as well. Jimmy McLaren wasn't bad at Hibs either, you know, the Australian striker.
Yeah.
He could sniff them out as well, you know, he wasn't a bad finisher. But yeah, Hooper was quite classy.
That led to his infamous celebration. Oh, the aeroplane.
Yeah, the aeroplane.
Did he just score a hat-trick that day, McLaren? And he scored 2. He scored a couple anyway. Yeah. Absolutely. Just great to reflect on some of those. You were always great. Never mind the press conference. You're always great copy when you're doing that.
It was the last kick of the season. Like, you know, I was getting a bit of grief off a certain section.
Seriously?
Did you go 3? Hibs went 3-0 up.
Yeah.
And I remember tweeting going, "Oh, this is a doing and all that. Oh, this is an absolute rout."
Yeah.
And then obviously came back to, was it 5 each?
Yeah, we
Delete.
Could have went 4-0 up.
That's right.
From that chance, Rangers scored, made a 3-1. Just the urge just came out of us because we needed to win it by 6 goals.
That's right.
To finish second or third or something like that.
Yeah.
We give it a good go. Defences were on top of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you delete your tweet?
No, I didn't. No.
Yeah, that was brave of you.
I don't delete mine.
Yeah, of
I'll
course.
you.
Yeah. St Mirren 2-0. Ruffy?
I think I went 2-1. I think St Johnstone have got to score sometime, but it'll not be enough. 2-1.
Neil?
I think St Mirren will win 3-1.
3-0.
Okay, just a quick couple of things I want to mention from the English Premier League before we say farewell to you, and that is, of course, a mention for Everton chairman Bill Kenwright. He died at the age of 78, and he suffered from cancer, and he had undergone surgery earlier this year, but I think it's always sad when you see someone. Of course, he was well connected and associated with the theatre, but he loved Everton. And it didn't quite work out, and there were some real hard times where I think Bill Kenwright would have felt the pain of some of the abuse that board members get when it's not going according to plan.
Yeah, and unfortunately, some supporters don't see what they're doing behind the scenes. As you just said there, he was 100% behind Everton. I think he put lots and lots of money into the club. And it's hard, you know, when you're somebody like that, the club that you love, and some supporters are having a go at you when they don't really know 100% of what's happening behind the scenes. They weren't getting results. I think he's big enough to take that, but some of the criticism he was getting was pretty bad.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think from everyone in the football show, not only our condolences, but thoughts and prayers to all the people associated with Bill Kenwright, the family and his friends as well. A great loss to football in general. Just before we go, there's not a day goes by now without Ange being the red hot topic down south. They'll love him down there. I expect him to be doing an advert with Tony the Tiger and Frosty shortly. He's on everything else. But with all the wins, he's now had the best start of any Premier League manager with 23 points in his first 9 games. At that point, with him top of the table, people are asking, can Spurs win the league?
Real good reason that no manager would talk about winning a title in October and November, and that's because we all know there's a long way to go, and we don't talk in those terms of the players. My kind of main information sort of flow is about, how can we keep improving? How can we kind of tackle the challenge of being in the most competitive league, in the world on a weekly basis?
He will eventually lose a game, but I don't know when it's coming.
He's doing fantastic, and they're great to watch. Watch the game on Monday night where, Fulham were well in the game, but again, Peter trying to play it from the back when Tottenham are pressing. Bassey's given the ball away twice in the same area and got punished. You thinking, when are these players and teams going to learn? But as far as Tottenham are concerned, no European football is a real benefit to them at the minute. I just think it'll catch up with them in the end. And listen, Ange will be well aware of that, but he must be on cloud nine. Life must be brilliant for him at the minute, and all the hard work he's done over the last 25, 30 years, has culminated to this. And I wish him every success, because he plays the game the way we all want to play the game.
And just, I think you should have the last word on this, and forgive me, guys, but somebody said to him, you're playing against Crystal Palace. Wonder what you'll be doing at 76, the same way Roy Hodgson is. And he said, there's no way, mate, I'll be managing at 76. I'll be on a beach somewhere in Greece. Yeah. And I thought to myself, I might as well ask you, Neil, will you still be managing at 76?
I hope so.
Yeah.
On a beach in Greece. I've had a year in Cyprus, that was great, but we all want longevity. And again, Roy Hodgson is one of these coaches, managers who are quite simply unique, and to have that sort of energy still at this stage of his life is incredible.
Yeah, brilliant. Listen, we love our football. We'll offer you an opinion. Some you like, some you don't. That's the nature of the game. Thanks very much to Ruffy and to Tam and to Neil Lennon. From myself, Peter Martin, don't forget, hit the subscribe button on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel and join the football family. We've got so much to offer you. Tomorrow, Kerry will be with Tam and Ruffy at 9 o'clock in the morning for the look ahead to the SPFL in detail. And then Tam and myself will be back for the half-time and full-time scores with reaction from managers and players. That's from 3:45. Hopefully you can join us for that. Thanks for watching and listening today.